research center is called Insight. We do everything around kind of data analytics, so that's kind of what I'm telling you about now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the center later. But primarily, working. We'll do that. I want to tell you about data and what you can possibly do with that. And thanks for joining me so early on, because I know we're kind of very at the end here. So I thought we'd start off with a definition of data. And big data is a really kind of buzzy word out there at the moment. So and rather than me giving you a kind of definition, I thought I'd let Gardner do this. So big data are information assets with volumes, velocity, and variety. So that means we're not just talking about big. So volume is one thing, right? But it's also in terms of where is data coming from? What is the source of the data? How is it looking? Okay? And is it in terms of variety as well? So is it something, something coming in short term or something coming in very fast? We kind of talk about real-time analytics nowadays. So this is something which is very important. And then it's really much about the analytics side, requiring new forms of information processing. So once you have all that data, you need to do something with it. You need to process it to then actually, and this is what I think the most really valuable part is, to enhance insight discovery, decision making, and process optimization. So this is really what you then do with it. So the data analytics, the technology, that's just an enhancer of doing something. But what you really want to do is kind of, you want to get to know your customers better. You want to influence your decision. You want to make better decisions, really, and that's kind of what we want to talk about. I'll let you read that. and that's really what it's about, right? There's so much data out there, and people just don't really know what to do with it. Just to give you an example, every one of you has a mobile phone. There are loads and loads of sensors in this mobile phone. And all of these gather data. If it is Wi-Fi, GPRS, it's social media connected to, your email. There's a microphone in there, I'm pretty sure. You can take pictures, maybe even videos. All of this is data, and you can do something with that. So I've started a little bit to kind of give you that definition of data, but let me put it in a different way. So first of all, we have that source of information, as I was saying. It could be that sensor data from your mobile phone, for example. Okay, it could be social media data, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these things. Or maybe it's about transactions. So think about when you are dealing with a client, for example, so customer data, that sort of thing. So any form, really, anything you can think of. And obviously, even if in that, ideally in a digitalized way. But then really, as I said, the interesting part is the opportunity you have from that. And it's, for me, the big thing really, and you see there are loads of other opportunities, is really to make this better making informed decisions. So you learn something from the data when you look at that. You learn in terms of trends, patterns, things which are connected to each other, something you didn't see before. So in terms of, if you look at it from an exploratory point of view, because the data is so big, if you look at 5 lines of data, of course you know where things are going. You don't need analytics to do this. But what about if you have real-time data coming in from, Facebook or client data or anywhere else, then you don't see anything anymore because that's just too much. And that's really it. It's kind of condensing it down, understanding it, making it usable. But then there's this next step of, once you know this, right? Once you know whatever, my sales drop by 5%, then you still have to do something, right? So you only know what's in the data, but then there's still the action coming out of that. And that obviously, analytics or technology can do. The business has to do that. But if you don't know this, then obviously you can't react on it. So the faster you know with what's kind of happening, the faster the business can kind of react. So, and then obviously if you kind of have these opportunities, if you find things or optimize processes, for example, there could be anything from, in a manufacturing space, for example, you can optimize processes, to run leaner. You could optimize a call center process, for example. And once you do this, of course, if you optimize things, you save money. Okay? You can grow as well. If you're quicker to respond to your customers, you grow your business. And then there's obviously all this kind of new potentials you might find out. So if you do exploratory research, finding out things you didn't know before, then you might see new opportunities coming out as well. So let me talk a little bit about Insight. What we do, as I said, is a research center. We have, I'll tell you that. So basically we are combining really research with knowledge from industry partners. So we work with industry partners together. And we really kind of try to derive these insights, these hidden nuggets, these golden nuggets from big data. We do research, so we have basic research going on that's funded by Science Foundation Ireland. So we have a lot of PhDs, but we also have postdocs primarily who work then with industry partners in collaborative projects. And then primarily they are one-to-one projects, but we also get engaged in the big Horizon 2020 projects and so forth. And then that's something I specifically do, and we have our own spin-offs from the center as well. So we're not just working with established companies, but we even generate from our own research, we establish and generate our own spin-offs as well. So we have worked with the whole kind of group of companies, from our own spin-outs, from 1 to 2 people startups, to the big multinationals. The center is about 2 years old now. It's one of the first which has been funded by Science Foundation Ireland with a new scope of research going on, because the government has put a lot of money in research, and now they said, okay, now we need to go this next step. So not just research, but now we need to look further into applied research, and that's why we have money and support co-funding for industry research collaborations. We have 4 main sites. It's UCD, DCU here in Dublin, and then UCC in Cork and NOA in Galway. But we also have other institutes as well, with about 350 researchers across the island. So we're really bringing all of the experts together in the center. So I also thought I'd bring you a few kind of case studies, examples of kind of previous projects where we work with industry partners, so you get a bit of a better idea of what possibly could be done, with the data and what is the value behind that. So one is, and I see that question coming across multiple industries, and that's what I bring, it's customer journey. So if you would know, say, assumingly you're an operator, a mobile phone operator, or any form of client, say, it could be any client data, right? In business you have where you have clients. You obviously want to know, are they sticking with me, or are they thinking of going to my competitor? So what we did here, that was actually mobile phone operator data. We looked into that, and we looked in terms of what is kind of more intrinsic kind of values from a person, and what's more extrinsic things, so what's happening outside in the environment, and bring these kind of components together and see if we can figure out who is kind of thinking of journeying and not. Because if you then know who possibly journeys, you give them a call, you write them a letter, you try to make them a new offer, you get them in. So then it comes to business side. So that's something what we did, and surprisingly, just to finish that up, something very kind of what you would imagine coming out. So one big determinant of actually is someone churning or not in that case is his contract finished, right? So if you think about that figure, of course, right? But it's interesting to see that things like that are kind of backed up. Another area we work a lot in is recommender systems. So if you think about Amazon or eBay, you buy a book and then you get recommended another book or another product. So they get to know you, they see what other people are buying, what might be of interest to you, and they recommend the new next thing to you. But you can broaden this out, and that's kind of what we did. We have a partnership going on with a company who is having loads of small retailers, and these retailers are in different businesses, so it's not just a bookshop. It could be a clothes shop, a bookshop, a music store, something like that. And what we're looking into is how can we better understand the customers across these different businesses, and then recommend something to them, which is a lot more targeted and a lot more personalized than something else. So the more we know about the customer, what's his lifestyle, his patterns, when is he buying, what does he like, what type of person is he, then it kind of gets really interesting. We work a lot in the travel industry in that space as well. And that's really, if you think you buy a ticket, right, if you do a business trip, buy a ticket. But what about tomorrow? You could buy a ticket for your family holiday. So how is a technical system picking this up? Okay? And that's the type of research we're kind of getting engaged with. So beyond that first step, what is the kind of new things which are not possible yet? Another kind of company project here, and that's around Facebook. If you are having advertisement on Facebook, you want to know if this is running good or not. How is the price developing over time, price trends? Can I need to change something in the kind of text and the advertising I do? Do I manage to target the right people or not? So there we have a project running which is kind of exploring these features to really understand how can you optimize the advertising side of your Facebook campaign. And that's the last example I have. You're going in a completely different area. It's a bit of an older project. And that's just telling you that data could be a lot around text and all this. But what about video data? Because that's something we're kind of getting engaged with as well. So we work with a company together who is looking into CCTV monitoring. And if you imagine you have people like this guy sitting there looking at maybe 20, 30 different screens, and there might not be much happening there. So you don't really know where to look at. Okay? So what we did with them was using an analytics engine to explore the CCTV footage which is coming in and taking everything which is not relevant out. So rather than now this person having to look at 20 screens, he only possibly has to look at 1 or 2 screens, because he knows now that in 18 of the other screens nothing is happening. But then in 1 or 2 screens, there is potentially a dark figure running in the dark. And then things like detecting, is it a person running there? Or is it actually a cat or a dog? Or something very interesting we did. Believe it or not, spiders like CCTV cameras, okay? Because they're warm. So, and they crawl, and they're black, okay? So that's an algorithm, for example, we developed as well. How do you detect that this is a spider? So I leave you with that. As I said, we kind of get engaged with industry partners in multiple ways. We have co-funding available from multiple sources, Science Foundation Ireland, Enterprise Ireland, Horizon 2020. So we leverage whatever is out there, and depending on your kind of business, what fits. The projects are different sizes. And generally, if we kind of co-funded something, I get a lot in terms of questions. The IPs is with the university, so we're not, and in order to kind of ensure that the university can further develop on that IP, but it's then generally licensed for the industry partner, so the partner has a full enough rights to exploit that. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. Do you have any questions? Yes.
The impact of the GDPR on big data, what's your view on that?
It depends, okay, what the goal is of the business, right? So it's really about I always say there's a technical challenge in that, and that's kind of what researchers are for, but there's always a business challenge and a business opportunity. And obviously that will kind of then generate, the revenue or the reduction of costs. So it's very, very dependent on the business. So, because that's another tension I kind of wanted to show you, it's very, very broad, right, in terms of kind of businesses. Because all the data could come from anywhere, so can the solutions go in any shape, form, and in any kind of type of business. If it is a manufacturing place or a retailer, and that really depends on where is that opportunity, and how much do I gain from that. So it's very, very individual.
I was sort of posing it in the context of, if the user now owns their data, as it's going to happen going forward, are you now into the realm of having to seek consent from the user for anything that you want to do that you've not explicitly defined in your user T's and C's?
Possibly, yes. You already have to give consent, right? If you get like marketing material, things like that, absolutely. We're actually working there with the European Union, what we call the Magna Carta of Data. So we actually, besides the research piece, we're trying to push that, privacy item. What can you do as, if you leverage data, what can you do and what can you not do to ensure that, we know how to exploit it in the right way, right? Because even if you look at, for example, there's been research by, I think it was Stanford or so, in terms of Facebook likes, and they came up with, don't put me on the numbers, say 15 likes are better than your colleague at work to tell, someone who you are. 50 about whatever, someone in your family, and about 350 your spouse. So, that is openly available data, right? And that was kind of innocent research, right? But if you think around kind of more healthcare issues, things like that, then of course it gets more kind of critical. So where's the line, right, of what's allowable and what isn't, and what should you do and not? And there is a lot possible. So there's a big ethical question of, even if you could, maybe you shouldn't.